The Silver Creek chandeliers. Gold dripped from tactical center onto rows. Velvet chairs with polished. Shoes tapped frantically and quietly. Voices were static like men. In tailored suits check time. Stylish watches for blazer-clad women. Browse glossy catalogs. Expressions cool and calculated room. Pulsed with tension like. Tasted like ambition and old money. A shadow moved Harper at the far entrance. Lay 9 crossed the threshold with only a battered, resolve stitched deep canvas bag. Into her tiny frame her faded hoodie. She carried trainers scuffed. Silent against marble floors she. No catalog. No paddle. Only the certainty that carried her. Through every impossible day before. Heads turned. Eyebrows arched. Some laughed quietly behind manicured. Hands muttered. Who let a kid in? Here. Harper didn't look away. Steady as a blade through the room. Sharp. Massive screen across hall. Elite digital profiles cycled. Service dogs for sale their awards. Pedigrees floated on screen. War medals most would never wear. Harper wasn't watching the fight. Statistics or awards she received. Looking for a ghost name. The image flickered across. 6-year-old German Shepherd Axel. High risk and unfit for civilian life. He was here adoption, her breath hitched. Her world blurred voices. Harper clutched, tightened her bag strap and moved. Alone but confidently entering. A legacy battlefield. Traded for wealth and loyalty. Sold to the highest bidder tonight. Her plan wasn't to leave him. Started with a crumpled notebook. Page and a huge number that barely felt. Real Harper Lane sat cross-legged. Bedroom floor staring at her money. Written. $60,000. She knew it wasn't just money. It was a mountain and she could climb $1 to reach Axel. It initially seemed almost. Funny 9-year-olds didn't say that. Their piggy bank money. With loose change and birthday. Cards stuffed with $5 bills, but Harper. Naughty kid grief had a way of internal aging carving. A hollow only purpose could fill. And Axel wasn't her normal dog. He was living memory proof of every lesson her father gave. Bram Lane was the kind of man. Police were instinctively trusted. Officer with dignity, not rank. Duty, but by promise to Harper. Giant, quiet protector. And always North Compass. Axel was right behind him. Unwavering loyalty when Graham spoke about Axel, his voice softened. The way Harper only saw when he talked about his passions. Axel's rescue wasn't just about dog, it was about maintaining the last part of the man she wanted to become. She sold everything to become. Give up her bike and art supplies. Favorite books she hand-painted. Greeting cards and sold them locally. She walked neighborhood farmers markets. Dogs after school rain or shine weaving. Muddy fields and cold pavements. She had quarters in her pockets. Cared for younger children in town. Festivals earning crumpled bills she neatly packed in a tin box. Even beneath her bed, she scrubbed. Tips from old diner patio tables. Summer tourists passed through. Each coin in the jar was a small uprising against the impossible. Mother initially tried to stop her. You don't understand, Harper said. Worrying voice, even if. Find him if you buy him. Dogs like Axel don't just appear. However, Harper did not comprehend. Just in her mind, but in her bones. Her bones, it wasn't just. Bringing Axel back meant restore some of her identity. Want to be by year 2. Her mother stopped protesting he began. Helping Harper travel far. Neighborhoods to distribute homemade flyers for dog walking services. Harper was kind at 10. Cafe owner hired her to sweep floors. Early weekend cash payments crumpled. Number 10s and warm blueberry muffins. Dollar was too small, no chore. Below her, Harper didn't care. Missed sleepovers, calloused hands. Axel's scraped knees concerned her. And her unspoken promise to. She remembered her father and future she refused, 3 years abandoned. Later when she grabbed it, she held the cashier's check. Fearful but light. Weight you carried when you knew. You definitely deserved it. Every inch of the impossible file. Thin with a few sheets tucked. Into a dusty archive Harper's mother. Found while packing up old police records, but Harper saw them. Axel, written in the margin. The report says she knew after Graham Lane's volatile death. Domestic call, Axel rejected all. Transfer handlers tried trainers. Demanded psychologists assessed, but dog who moved shadowily at. Graham's team snapped cages. At unfamiliar voices retreating. Every order yelled at him. Strangers Axel wasn't dangerous because. He was vicious and dangerous because. He mourned the police. Problem with liability and budget. Cuts quietly retired him unfit for extra service. He slipped through the cracks. Moved between rehabilitations. Center to state shifted. Holding facilities, labeling him. Trouble than he was worth. His auction roster appearance. Silver Creek Tactical Center employed man. Name few knew and cared about. To recall in bold red. Warning behavioral risk, special waiver. Required most bidders sought. Polished service dog prospects. Security breeding champions Axel. Was no longer to them. Harper saw him as a liability. Irreplaceable dog and person. Memory stitched flesh to bond. Her childhood fabric the last. A live part of her father's. Unshakable heart Harper hadn't fallen. She stumbled into that auction. Searched every whisper and registry. She sleepless over every rumor. Nights browsing outdated forums. Calling shelters under 12 fake names. Silver Creek listing names, and when appeared, she knew immediately. Left ear notch scar. Flanked the tired defiance in his eyes. Axel survived and now. She fought for him before. Everything collapsed Harper's world. Then simple sunrises meant Axel bounding. Porch tail wagging nose nudging. Opening the screen door like his own. Morning smelt like pancakes. Coffee her kitchen full. Father's low humming while reading. Newspaper on his worn uniform Axel. Not just Graham Lane's partner. Was family always there? Breakfast table warm weight. Against Harper's legs. Thunderstorms shook her windows. Remembered afternoons, chasing Axel. Behind the ranch or fields. Laughing against the vast blue. Sky Graham stood at the fence arms. Pulled at the rare smile. Harper stumbled, corner of mouth. Graham didn't run to her when she fell. Axel nibbled her ribs first. Whimpering, as if the world could break if she cried, and Harper has quieter evenings. Dangling legs on the back steps. Axel's gear was cleaned by Graham. Respect most people show. For holy things, he's not just a dog. Harper, her father said. Voice low and sure he's promising. Harper had earned, not command. Believed it then and now. Remembered Graham, teaching her to indicate Axel without words by tilting. Had a hand gesture and pride. Graham looked the first time Axel obeyed. Her silent command, running towards her. With unmatched loyalty in his eyes. Their last morning together was stamped on her mind like scripture. Sun barely peeking over ridge. Rigid Axel on the. Graham crouches to whisper on porch steps. Something into the dog's ear before. He turned to her and ruffled her hair. Said with a faltering smile. Reach his eyes, sweep the porch. We'll be back soon, kiddo. Graham hadn't returned. Not until now, and standing in the crowded auction hall, Harper wasn't just trying to get her dog back. Fighting for that porch piece. That sunrise promising homecoming. Where it belonged hallway to. Kennel smelt bleach and cold. Metal Harper lowered her head. Moved folded visitor. Past pressed. A guard between her fingers. Situated near the restricted access. Area saw her and advanced. Please provide visitor credentials. Harper pulled quickly, without hesitation. The crumpled but official document from the pocket with her father's name and Silver Creek Tactical C. Guard scanned center seal. Quickly, his brow furrowing slightly. The courtesy was legitimate. Pass honoring fallen. Officer's family unusual. At her age, but not prohibited. Either he sighed and left. He emphasized, don't touch anything. Harper nodded out of habit rather than distrust. Once and slipped past him, heart pounding. Long kennel stretched before her. Sterilized rose kennel stretched. Before her steel reinforced rose. And glass shining under sterility. Like most dogs barked and paced. Frantic, but not Axel at the. He sat motionless at the end of the row. Ghost carved his ears from memory. Slight prickle as Harper approached. He stared at her with dark eyes. Deep stillness made the air. Between them, Harper stopped 3 feet. From his enclosure neither moved. Blinked, her hand inches from the glass, shaking not from fear, but from maybe an older recognition. Silent across years they. Lost Axel's gaze didn't harden. Softened without snapping or snarling. Like human smile, but subtly. Muscle relaxation, slight tilt. Head like old soldiers greet a old friend after war herp. Her palm gently against. Low, steady glass, Axel exhaled. leaning forward until his nose nearly touched the barrier. The spell ended. Kennel assistant saw her. Not allowed, she said. Hissed Harper, rushing down row. Didn't look away, I know. Calmly, the assistant fell off. By her quiet confidence, you. The dog is dangerous, so stay back. Herb's voice eventually stabilized. Thy danger was waiting. A memory of Axel. Tail crossed kennel once. Flora's silent, patient promise echo. Neither had ever truly forgotten. The lights dimmed across Silver Creek, tactical center washing. Soft gold whispers fill the hall. Expectant silence as the next lot number flashed on a massive screen. Lot 47. Far in hall, Axel Harper. Hit against the wall. Behind a pillar, her tiny frame nearly swallowed by polished grandeur. Auctioneer's voice around her dropped half an octave heavy. Cautious wait, 47 6-year-old German. Former shepherd under Officer Graham, lane transgression. Designation, special waiver required. Words shook the crowd. Harper tightened his fingers in the cold draft. Around her pockets, folded envelope. Cashiers checked everything she had. Everything she fought for down. Center aisle handlers drew Axel in. Spotlight, no muzzle, no leash. Dramatically entered with a kind. Careful each step. Measured his scarred coat, catching. Light left ear tilted. Aware but not aggressive. Some people leaned forward, murmuring, others tensing, as if expecting. Axel gave them violence. Nothing. He stood silently, steady, his dark eyes scanning the room, twice looking for her. Bidding started at $15,000. Hand in third row rose. A woman with sharp red nails appeared immediately. A clipboard beside her, 15. Man slumping on an ivory cane. Countered 20, accelerated 25-30. Harper felt her heart pound her ribs. Loud, it nearly drowned out. Auctioneer's pace, she looked. Room and saw him. Rice Maddox, a man known for buying troubled dogs, cheaply privatizing them. Security forces with brutal training. Methods. He reclined in his chair, fidgeting with a pen. Smirk that cuts glass when bid reached 40,000. Maddox joined Fry. He called 45, lazily tossing. Pocket become a fountain room. Felt the inevitable Maddox. Harper was small, but always one. Alone but unshakable, she entered the aisle, her worn trainers. Says whispering against marble 60. The word didn't need shouting to sharpen the hall cut. Then any scream, heads turned. The edges buzzed with laughter. Disbelieving, some pitying. The auctioneer. Paw's mouth opened slightly. Longer than protocol, 60,000. He said, recovering. Max. Smirk fell. He leaned forward, studying Harper like she was there. The hall first hosted. Breath, nobody else bid, nobody else dared. Gavel dropped, lot 47 to miss. Lane, a stillness heavier than any. Applause filled the room. Harper slowly exhaled at the end. Ring. Axel didn't move until the first. Once that night, his tail gave a soft forethought. Too quiet for others to notice. Loud enough to steady shaking in. Harper's hands accomplished Axel. Her home was no longer a memory. It was waiting for people. Chatter faded around her. A distant hum beyond the hall's heavy doors. Preparations began. Give her promise back. Transport bay behind auction. Hall buzzed with crate loaders. While checking paperwork, dogs barked. Howled a chorus of confusion. Nerves, but Harper sat far away, quietly on a low bench, envelope in hand, awaiting handler's lead. No crate or muzzle. Axel was free. No leash. He walked alone. Cautious but free, his body tense. Unanswered questions when Harper stumbled when he saw her. Lowered herself slowly, crouching familiarly. Non-threatening like Graham. Taught her years ago. She didn't grab him or call him. Name. She just waited. Axel's ears pricked, his nose twitched, and he crossed with uncertain breath. Distance. He stopped, inches. Near enough for Harper to see. Scars running his muzzle. Stories no one else would ask. To say she knelt heartbroken. Axel sat down, flank lightly touching her knee. No big reunion, no bounce. One breath, no frantic barking. Just a touch bond that had never existed. Broken handler shook his. Unbelievable. I've never seen him do that to anyone, muttering more than anyone else. Harper didn't. Here she was preoccupied, pressing forehead gently against Axel's scar. One, closing her eyes to memorize. Moment in her bones outside. A low sun set behind the hills, painting the world in gentle strokes. Axel was loaded in a lavender and gold. Back of a waiting truck, no crate. Fear only trust, as the engine rumbled. Life Harper entered the passenger, sitting with her hand on Axel's. His rough fur felt rough under her. The fingers were real in his. Was home they drove away. The chandeliers and polished floors, leaving world echoes that nearly forgot them. Then look back some trips. Closing applause. Silence that enveloped you. Final promise kept the road. Home was long and empty, between hills with soft blues. Early twilight Harper purples. Leaned her head against the cool glass. Truck window watching the landscape, blurred her hand, feeling the back of Axel. Regular breathing pattern, anchoring her for Rayal. First time in forever. Didn't shout its joy. Shout or dance it lived quietly in. Gaps between heart boots. Axel moved closer as the truck bumped the gravel road. Harper smiled, formed finding each without noticing. Other didn't fix what was broken. It was about construction. Knew something stronger from parts. They kept the knowledge. Some bonds don't fade over time. Not with distance or grief. The truck crested the last hill. Ranch outline came from whispering pines. The faded barn leans into view. Front porch corral fence. Harper learned to whistle. She lifted his head with her fingers, nose tingling at familiar scents. His memory of wind and Harper. Seeing him realize she didn't say anything. He was home. She was home, and in the quiet turning. Long-term promise from the earth beneath them finally came back to be kept. Not all happiness was grand. Wins or happy endings sometimes was just getting back to those waiting for you all along.